Hi. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your messages in the last couple of days. I know it's been a while since I posted, and so appreciate that the posts and the videos are making enough of a difference that people are actually missing them when I am not available to do them as frequently as perhaps I'd like. So this past weekend was a course where we had an outside facilitator. So I was training in it this weekend. We had a fellow come from Florida, and the course is considered level 4 in the series of courses that we teach, and it's called Mastery. And so, one of the things that we talked about, the many things that we talked about that I would say many of the participants in the program felt was the most powerful, and they created some of the most significant breakthroughs, was the whole concept of when we find ourselves characterizing other people and whether or not in the characterization of others it is accurate or not accurate. So, one of the challenges I think we all face as humans is that we do understand conceptually that it's my perception of things that affect how I feel about them. They may or may not be the truth. And because I decide that it is my truth, it affects how I feel. And then how I feel determines often what my response is going to be or how I'm going to behave. So I'm sure if you stopped and pondered for a moment, you can think about some things in your life that you have responded to, people that you have responded to, situations that you've responded to, where after you look back and go, ooh, wish I had responded differently. So I used to know someone who used to say, it's like squeezing all of the toothpaste out of the tube, realizing you've created a big mess, and then trying to put it back in. And so, if you can imagine and visualize that experience, it would be virtually impossible for any one of us to imagine putting toothpaste back inside that small hole. So, one of our biggest challenges often then is catching ourselves before we have those responses that make a mess. And that can be extremely challenging. So, part of what we learned this weekend, part of what we were focusing on, is what if you learned to manage your state so that those situations rarely, if ever, showed up? And that you began to take responsibility and accountability for what it is that you're experiencing, and recognizing that in many different ways we also want to we want to make real or factual simply concepts. So as an example, so if somebody said, what are you experiencing right now, most of us would want to say things like, I'm experiencing frustration, I'm experiencing fatigue. And how do you know that that's what you're experiencing? How do you know that that's what it is? Because really it's a concept. You often have, those of you that have been in the classroom with me have often heard me say, what's the distinction between excitement and fear as it relates to your body or as it feels in your body? And most of us can't say anything other than the thought is that excitement shows up as rumbling and hearts palpitating, palms sweating, and fear often shows up the same way. And what distinguishes it is our thought about it. And so much of what we think we are actually experiencing are just concepts. So, for example, I'm experiencing the concept of fear, I'm experiencing the concept of excitement. And so, all weekend, participants practiced speaking in those terms and being able to then learn the power of distinction. And it's in the power then of presencing and distinction that we have the ability to be able to manage our state differently and avoid every now and again those very messy moments where we feel like I'd like to get that toothpaste back in that tube. So many more concepts that came through in terms of what the steps of mastery are, far too many to share with you on a video. That's why we have a course for it. And I hope that today that helps you a little, and that you take time to stop and think about who the people are in your life, how have you characterized them. So if you have decided that they are lazy, if you've decided that they are not open, if you've decided that they are critical and judgmental, then consider for a moment in that characterization how that makes you feel, and then subsequently how you respond to people. And is that serving your relationship or not? And not even just with other people. How do you perceive much of yourself or how you feel? And in the deciding that that is the truth or a fact. What impact is that having in terms of your response? So that's a little bit for today. I have a level 2 coming up this week, so probably won't see you again until next week. Thanks for watching.